You know what's funny about starting a conversation? That most people see it like that band that comes on stage before the main singer, meaning something you have to put up with to get to the real point. And what's the real point? It's deep conversations, real connections. We all want that, right? But if you just put your phone down for 2 minutes and actually look around you, you'll realize that every interaction, every relationship starts with this same conversation starter. Even your closest friends started with a sentence like, "What classes did you take?" or some other random nonsense. Now, let me give you an unpopular opinion. Starting a conversation actually has nothing to do with what you say. Most of it is about making the other person feel like a real human, not a character in a game waiting for commands. You don't need cheat codes, you don't need a pre-written script, and you don't even need charisma. You just need to learn one thing: active observation. Yeah, I know it sounds like some nerdy self-help talk, but just hear me out. Active observation means paying attention to the person standing in front of you as if they're the only thing that exists in that moment. Not their vibe, not their energy, but their real, tangible details. Their shirt, their drink, or the way they keep checking their watch like they'd rather be anywhere but here. You notice these things and then you comment on them in a way that invites a response, not interrogates them. Let me explain why this works. First, people love being seen. Not in that cringy, "wow, you're so deep and mysterious" way, but simply in the sense of, "hey, I notice you exist." This is basic psychology. As humans, we're wired to crave attention and validation. Second, this approach disarms the other person. When you point out something you've noticed, you're not putting pressure on them to perform. You're not asking, "So what do you do?" or "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" You're just gently tossing the ball toward them to see if they feel like throwing it back or not. Let's give an example. You're in a cafe, and the person next to you is holding an old book. Most people say, "What are you reading?" because they think it's polite. It's not. That's pressure. You're asking them to explain, justify, or summarize their book, and nobody feels like doing that. Instead, you say, "Looks like that book's been through a lot." Boom. You just stated something you observed in a neutral but interesting way. They might laugh and say, "Yeah, it's my third time reading it." Or maybe they'll say, "It's terrible. I'm just finishing it out of spite." Either way, you've started a conversation without making them feel interrogated. Or imagine you're at a party, which, if you're an introvert, is probably a nightmare. Someone walks by holding a plate of food that looks a bit weird. Instead of ignoring them or hiding in a corner, you say, "That chicken looks like it's been in a fight." Again, no question, just something you notice with a bit of humor. They might laugh and agree, or they might even defend the chicken. Either way, you've opened the door to a conversation. The beauty of active observation is that it works everywhere: work meetings, first dates, family gatherings, anywhere you can think of. It's flexible, it's simple, and best of all, it takes the spotlight off you. You don't have to be charming or funny, you just have to notice things and point them out. That's it. Now let's talk about what this actually looks like in practice. First, you need to train yourself to notice details. That means putting your phone away, taking your headphones off, and paying attention to your surroundings. What are people wearing? What are they doing? Are they restless? Are they checking the time? Are they scrolling on their phones? These small things give you tons of information. Second, you need to practice turning these observations into comments. This is where most people get stuck because they overthink it. They worry about sounding weird or nosy, but the truth is, nobody cares about you as much as you think they do. So when you see someone wearing a bright yellow jacket, you can say, "That's a bold color choice." "I like it." Done. Your comment doesn't need to be clever, it just needs to open the door. And finally, you need to be okay with silence. Not every comment you make will turn into a long conversation, and that's completely fine. The goal isn't to force anything, it's to give people the opportunity to engage if they want to. If they don't, you move on. No harm done. The more you do this, the easier it gets. You'll start to realize that starting conversations isn't about impressing people or proving that you're interesting. It's just about being present, paying attention, and making people feel seen. That's it. It's not that deep, but it works. And honestly, once you get good at it, it actually becomes kind of fun. You might think this sounds too simple to work, but think about it. When was the last time someone actually noticed something about you and mentioned it in a normal, non-awkward way? Probably a long time ago. The truth is, people are so wrapped up in their own worlds that they barely notice anyone else. So when you do this, people notice you because they're not used to it. Let me give you another example. You're at a Halloween party. Someone walks in wearing a jacket covered in tiny plastic duck pictures. Most people either ignore them or give a generic comment like, "Nice jacket," but you say, "Okay, I need to know the story behind those ducks." With that one line, you've personalized the interaction. You've turned their accessory into a conversation hook, and you've done it in a way that makes them feel interesting. This works with anything. You notice someone's shoes and say, "Those shoes are way too clean for something that looks that comfortable." Or you comment on their coffee. "That's a lot of cream for someone who doesn't look like they're celebrating." Or even their dog. "Your dog is staring at me very seriously. I think he's analyzing me." You're not trying to be funny or smart. You're just noticing things and turning them into mildly interesting comments. One more thing. It has to be genuine. People can smell fake interest from a mile away. If you're doing this just because you think you're supposed to, it won't work. You actually have to care, even if it's just for 5 minutes. We think we're bad at starting conversations because we hate small talk. But if you're truly paying attention, the act of starting a conversation isn't shallow at all. It's just the first layer. So the next time you're in a situation where starting a conversation is unavoidable, try active observation. Notice something, comment on it, and let the conversation unfold naturally. You don't need to be the life of the party, you just need to be present. Starting conversations stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like a game. You stop worrying about what to say because you realize it doesn't matter what you say. What matters is that you're present, you're paying attention, and you're making people feel seen. That's the whole thing. So next time you're standing in line at a cafe, pay attention to the person in front of you. Pick one thing, comment on it, and see what happens. The worst case is they don't respond and you move on. The best case is you've just made a new connection.